All I have for you is a word. Tenet. It'll open the right doors, some of the wrong ones, too. Use it carefully.
To do what I do, I need some idea of the threat we face.
As I understand it, we're trying to prevent World War III.
I'm not saying Armageddon here.
No. Something worse.
I gather you have an interest in a certain Russian national.
Why don't you bring me in?
You really want to know? He can communicate with the future.
Time travel.
No. Inversion.
Aim it and pull the trigger. You're not shooting the bullet, you're catching it.
Whoa.
Well, I've seen too much.
Well, we'll try and keep up.
Your duty transcends national interests. This is about survival.
Seems bold.
Bold, I'm fine with. I thought you were going to say nuts.
This is where our worlds collide.
How would you like to die?
Old.
You chose the wrong profession.
Well, that from here.
Hasn't happened yet.
There are people in the future who need us. We need Tenet.
We need to save them here and now.
It's reversing the flow of time. Doesn't us being here now mean it never happened? You want to crash a plane?
But not from the air. No, it's so dramatic.
Well, how big a plane?
That part is a little dramatic.
I'm going to watch 30 movies, a movie each day in June. It's day 2 of year 8 of movie month, and the podcast will start soon. He's going to watch 30 movies, some good films and some lowbrow. Year 8 of fans, not experts, movie month, and the podcast starts right now. Year 8 of movie month, that much you already know. Year 8 of movie month, and now it's time for the show.
See what's become of me. Time, see what's become of me. While I looked around.
Yesterday, I watched a 90-minute silly movie that was just like fun, popcorn enjoyable. Today, I watched a 2.5-hour epic that has turned my brain to mush. Now, it's not the only reason my brain is of mush. I've had my dog has had a sick little tummy that's kind of only been happening at night, late at night. As in last night, I think I was up till almost 2 a.m. Woke up at 7 a.m., worked today, watched a movie in between before work, watched a movie at lunch, and finished it just now at what time is it? 9:30 p.m. So I'm like, I have that overtired energy where if I stop, I think I'll just collapse. But I'm also got energy from watching this movie. Folks, tonight I watched Tenet. 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 For maybe part of the time I thought it was called Tenant, but it's actually Tenet. And what does it mean? I don't think Tenet at all means, and let's see what the word Tenet means. Tenet word meaning is a principle or belief, especially one of the main principles of a religion or philosophy. Okay, so there's that. There's the fact that I guess that means something. I think it was also a code word, I think, used in the movie. But I think the main reason this was the word that was used as the title is because it's a palindrome. It is the same at the beginning. It is the same forward or reverse. And that is what this movie is about. I didn't know. I remember seeing it's Christopher Nolan and being excited because he makes these big, crazy, like, mind-bending movies. Sometimes they have Batman, sometimes they don't. And I remember hearing some people love it and some people, like, mixed. Like, people going, it's all right, it's confusing, this, that. And it kind of happened during the pandemic, so I just never saw it. It was released, I think, officially at some point it made it to the theaters. I don't know. I watched it today on HBO Max, and I didn't quite know how it worked, where there was forwards and backwards, and like I just thought, we have like I'm watching it early. I'm like, okay, he's going to go after Kenneth Branagh because of backwards bullets. I don't know. It was my brain's a mush. I told you that already. So I was confused, kind of what the hell the point is. I'm still a little confused as to what was going on. There was drawings. There were fake paintings. We're breaking into airports and we're fighting people that turned out to be ourselves. That was awesome. But there was enough. My brain understood enough of what was going on, that there was this forward story that we were staying with the character, and then at one point the character's like, nope, I need to go back. And this isn't time travel like you and I think of time travel in movies, where you get in a time machine, you go back to a time, and then you move forward. This is literally reversing time, where they call it a turnstile. You walk through this machine, and all of a sudden you're going the backwards way. And you look like, as far as you're going forward and everyone's going backwards. But in reality, everyone's going forwards and you're going backwards. It is so trippy and mind-bending how they did this. And then they had armies of at one point we had armies. One team was going forward, one team was going backwards, but they're fighting for the same goal. I mean, it was like you had to just catch up with things. But once the main protagonist decided to go through the turnstile and live backwards, I was like, oh my God, things are kind of not starting to make sense, but come together, where like you see I'll say the brilliance, the originality of this movie. The main character that's all his name is, protagonist. And I love that. He's like, I am the protagonist of this movie. I don't know this actor. I'm not sure what I've seen him in. I know John David Washington is his name. I know that he was in the Black Klansman, but I don't know anything else. I don't think I've seen him in anything. Nope. I'm just looking real quick on his IMDb. Nope, I haven't seen him. This is the first time I've seen him, and he's an interesting actor because he's so level, like low key. Just everything's like, hey, how you doing? I'm here. I'm going to go back in time. And I don't know, some kind of grounding coolness of it, like, hey, I got everything under control. Like, you always feel like he's got things under control, I guess. That's how I took it as. And so I was impressed by him. Then you got Robert Pattinson. He's a future Batman. a lot of Batman stuff in this. I know. Some people, I know one person in particular who's saying, "Oh God, enough with the stupid superheroes." But you got Christopher Nolan. You got his granddad, Michael Caine, who I think lived with Christopher Nolan. He uses him all the time, doesn't he? I think, I don't know. Michael Caine's always around. I don't know. So this main protagonist, I'll just call him the protagonist. At the beginning, he's working for some agency, the CIA, to break some guy out because there's some kind of bomb, but it's not a bomb. It's part of something else. And then they say, listen, this is the real secret going on. There's this way to reverse things, so you can make a bullet that goes backwards. You can make things that can go backwards. You can make big things that go backwards. You can have people go backwards. And that's where I'm kind of like, what the hell's going on here? At one point, he's fighting a guy who was going backwards. I didn't understand until later when the main character went backwards. He's going back to the same fight. I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. I'm starting to understand. That's because at one point, Robert Pattinson looks at the guy, throws him his helmet, and I'm like, wait a second. He recognized that guy. Wait a second, it's him. It wasn't Robert Pattinson, but it was the protagonist. Oh my goodness. And Kenneth Branagh. I almost didn't recognize him. He wasn't playing Hamlet. He wasn't playing Harry Potter teacher. So it's like, and he's like, I am Russian, man. And he's the bad guy. He's the bad guy that I guess is trying to. Okay, so this is what I'm going to put together what I think is happening. In the far future, okay, there are, and I'm talking centuries from now, someone designed a way to reverse all things. And she sent it back to the past in pieces to discard, to hide it throughout time, and she killed herself because she didn't want anyone else to be able to recreate it. Except they can still make things go back, so that doesn't quite make much sense. But somebody goes and sends back to, I'm going to say Chernobyl. It's not Chernobyl, but something like that, where a young Kenneth Branagh was working. They sent him gold. They sent him a kind of a thing of what to do, and this guy took advantage of that and amassed a fortune. Trying to find all these pieces. So I guess the pieces weren't just to put things together. The pieces put together and everything. So he was put in charge, given this life of riches and he led a life of crime to try to amass these 9 pieces of something. What do they call that? The MacGuffin, is that what it is? Bring those 9 pieces together, which will then end the world. And so that's what he's kind of been doing all these years, looking for them. Now we got protagonist, and he gets connected with Neil, this Robert Pattinson, and they have all these army dudes to help to kind of fight against that. They get entangled with Kenneth Branagh's wife, and trying to kind of figure out how, at one point they think they're getting plutonium, but they're not. That's just part of a bigger thing. My God, I told you, my brain is of mush. And so what we come to learn at one point is that this is all going to, Kenneth Branagh has this Fitbit on, basically, that he keeps checking his heart. They keep showing it. And he is going to kill himself at one point because it's the end of the world. When all 9 things get connected, it's gonna blow up everything. But the people in the future will still be alive because it's some kind of grandfather paradox. If you go in the past and kill your grandfather before he was able to have any children, how were you ever born to go back and kill your grandfather? One of those things. So they're saying, the people in the future saying they don't believe in that. They're just going to kill everything in the past because the past screwed up the future. I don't know if it's with the environment. So they're blaming us. I don't know. Look, at one point we got armies going forwards, armies going backwards, backwards explosions, backwards birds, backwards cars. That's what it was like. The spectacle of that happening, where you got soldiers going in one direction, soldiers going in another direction, it's definitely worth seeing on the big screen. I watched it on a 18-inch computer monitor, 3 feet from my face. But so you got armies going forwards, armies going backwards. So at one point they need to. They have this whole job to get this bomb so it doesn't go off, but they have to, once it doesn't go off, then the wife can kill Kenneth Branagh, but if you kill Kenneth Branagh too early, there's a kill switch and the bomb goes off and it ends the world. I don't know, something like that. And you got backwards and forwards, and you kind of find out at the end that Robert Pattinson sacrifices himself, but he doesn't do it the first time around. He has to, like, there's a dead guy there, and then you come to find out later, he's like, I have to go back now. And the protagonist's like, no, wait. But he realizes that Neil has to go back and die to get things going forward in the future. But I love that he's like, who hired you? And he goes, you did. He goes, to me, this is, to me, this is the end of a very long friendship. But to you, this is just the beginning. So what happens is the future guy becomes friends with Neil and sends him back, I guess, to do things. I don't know. It's just, that was awesome. He goes, this is just the beginning of, he basically said, like, we have a lot of adventures, my friend. And I thought, oh, that'd be cool to see more adventures. But that's not the way it's going to be. It just kind of sets you up for that kind of, like, cool idea that Robert Pattinson, at one point I kept thinking he's going to be bad, he's going to turn, and he doesn't. And then you get Kick-Ass in it. Aaron Taylor Johnson, who I swear at first I thought, my God, is he putting on that British accent? Like, that's pretty good, I guess. Then I realized he's actually British, and the American accent he did in Kick-Ass is fake. I was like, I did not know that. He plays an army guy that, and then I thought they were turning on the protagonist and Neil at the end, but he wasn't. He was just like, we can't let these pieces fall into anybody's hands. So then they had to go back and continue doing what they're doing, and I don't know. Here's what I do know. Christopher Nolan wrote and directed this. His movies are the tentpole, is that the term? Where every time he puts a movie out, you think, oh my God, this is a big deal. It's not about the actor. It's not about the like, oh, who's the celebrity in this movie? It doesn't matter. It's the fact that it's a Christopher Nolan movie who just happens to have these great actors in it. Like, it's kind of that Tarantino type feel where you hear Tarantino puts on a movie, you're like, oh my God, the new Tarantino movie. Christopher Nolan is the same way. It's a different type of thing where it's convoluted sometimes. It's very, like, he loves doing convoluted things. Think of the one with Interstellar, right? Think of that, or think of Inception. I mean, they're high concepts. And then he does something like Dunkirk, which was just an awesome kind of, war movie. But every time he does a movie, it's something that is, like, to me, like a big deal, in cinema world. So it's something I definitely want to see, and I will enjoy, even if I'm like, this is crazy, this is wackadoodie, because they're just, the performances are always great. They're freaking gorgeous, like, to look at, like, just, and as far as cinematography and just the look, they all have that same look where it's like a little undersaturated, a little flat. I don't know what just think about his movies. They're not bright colored really ever. And that's just kind of his thing. But there's also there'll be some kind of, he does something where it's unique, a kind of story that hasn't quite been told. I don't think anything's ever been told like this before. I mean, there's been tons of time travel and time loop things, but not kind of going on at the same time. I mean, we as the viewer were going forward in time, then we were going back in time while other people were going forward in time, and then you realize that something you saw earlier in the movie you're now getting to see it again. Like at the end of this, at the end of the movie, we see the woman cat jump out of the boat. At the beginning of the movie, from far away, we see the woman jump out of the boat. So what I think happens is they let her go because they said you have to go back a few days. So she goes back. Then after she goes back long enough, then she gets in the thing and can she go forward. So that's how there's two people going forward at the same time. That's how it works. And I love where he's like, anywhere you are, call this, say this. And she does, and he gets it. But he gets it before she said it so that he can go and protect her. And cool little things like that. And because he's like, I'm the protagonist. And he's just like mission accomplished. Like he is the guy who set the whole thing up. We just don't know that until the end. And he doesn't even know it because it's not going to happen until the future. Bonkers, crazy. I love that kind of stuff where it just makes you go, huh? What? But at the same time, even if you don't get it all, which I'm sure I've missed some things, and I definitely would like to watch this again. Of course, I said that about Inception, and after I saw it in the theater, I never saw it again. But this is something I think I would watch again because I'd like to see what I missed and what I could pick up this time around. The even if you didn't get everything, just the kind of spectacle of it on face value, if you're just kind of seeing, wait a second, this is going forward, this is going backwards, is so unique that I just thought it was a hell of a movie and well worth watching. And I'm glad I watched it. Day two of movie month, and I picked a winner. I'm very, very pleased with this movie. At first, I'm thinking, I don't quite know what's going on. And then it was like, okay, so they can talk. He's backwards on that side of the wall. I don't quite know what's going on. And then I realized, oh, that's the turnstile. And once he goes through and comes out the other side, I'm thinking, to me, that's when the movie just took off. And it was awesome. So that's it. I think I'm done. I think I'm going to call it. And I'm going to go take my dog out and pray that she, just chills for the rest of the night. So, my friends, you know where to find me, right? On Instagram and on Twitter, it's @GeekMentality. The Facebook page is Fans.Experts, and of course the website is fans.experts.com. Now, did you know that if you're on Spotify, you can find us? I have Spotify playlists now. If you look up Fans.Experts Movie Month playlists, I have a playlist for 2018, 2019, and 2020, and a new one for 2021. So if you are on Spotify and you just want to watch the movie month or just listen to the movie month stuff, you can do it there. Hopefully I'm going to go back and backlog 2017, 2016. And someday I even talk about going back to the original 2014 and 2015 blogs and making podcasts out of them, reading them, maybe do a dramatic reading of them, and then backdate them to say they were, June 1st, 2014. I think that'd be a fun little project to do, because what the hell, what do I need? More like hobby projects. That's my thing. So, that's it. I think I'm done. And if you use Letterboxd for, to listen to kind of track your movies, I'm on there at Geek Mentality. And really, the only thing I have on there are my lists. So all the movie month lists going back from 14, 15, all the way up to 2021. Year 8, baby. That's it. I'm kind of hitting that wall where I realize I'm either going to lose my mind or go to sleep. Hopefully I go to sleep. So good night, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow for day 3. I'm pretty sure I know what day 3 is going to be already. But we're not there right now. We're still at day 2. So until tomorrow, my friends, here is my theme song. This is my podcast. I made it. Geek Mentality's what I named it. And I think you should listen and subscribe, 'cause I'm kinda funny and awesome. I think that I'm worth your time, and I'm kinda handsome. My mom says, please listen and please subscribe. At least listen to this episode. Fans Not Experts.